No matter how much money you make, there's always going to be someone who makes a lot more than you. This is regardless of your age. Therefore, when it comes to money, a lot of us often feel like we're falling behind, even if our progress is quite impressive. This is why today, we're going to talk about why you're doing better financially than you think. And not only will we talk about this, but we're also going to talk about what you can do to make sure that you stay on the right track. In the United States, many people might seem like they're doing great financially, but after sharing some facts with you, you'll realise that appearances can be extremely deceiving. I'm sure you've seen loads of people on TikTok and Instagram living the high life, driving around in exotic cars and flying private. The reality couldn't be any more different. These people don't have as much money as they appear to have, and they're struggling to make ends meet. Hello and welcome back to Tides of Wealth, where you're just one sale away from financial success. Think of it like this. Imagine there are two games for measuring how well you're doing. The first game is the status game. This is exactly why so many people feel they're behind everyone. Everyone, everywhere is focused on status. It's a competition to have more expensive, larger and better things than the other person. For example, a bigger house or a fancier car. But there's a problem with that. There's no end to this game. It's always changing. Let's say you upgrade from a Toyota Camry to a Mercedes E-Class. You're happy for a couple of months, but then you see your co-worker, who makes slightly more money than you, driving with an even bigger Mercedes. You don't stop to think about how much debt they may have taken on for that car, or how much money they're wasting that could potentially go towards retirement savings. No. All you think about is how John, the guy you hate so much, drives a bigger, better, faster car than you. This game makes you compare yourself to other people, and since it's a never-ending game, you'll always feel uncomfortable and uneasy playing it. It can make you feel anxious, just because there are people out there who have more than you. Unless you're Elon Musk, there's always going to be someone or the other who's richer than you. So if you continue to play this game, you'll never ever win, and you'll be left in a ton of debt. The second game is the wealth game. Now this game isn't about what others see, it's about what's going on behind the scenes. It's about the money that you have saved and invested. It's about building a business and spending on things that have a positive return on investment, also known as ROI. This game is more about building a foundation of financial freedom and living life as you see fit. If you start making your decisions based on the wealth game rather than the status game, then you'll be doing a lot better than most people. Now, let's talk about some financial statistics. And these stats might help you realise that you're doing better than most people. And if you're not, then these stats will be an eye-opener for you, helping you realise what you can do in order to be better off financially than everyone else. Here's something scary. 57% of Americans don't have savings for emergencies. In the United Kingdom, 40% of people don't have enough money to cover 1 month of living costs if they lose their job. And 57% of Americans can't deal with a $1,000 emergency. This means that the majority of people can't deal with a small emergency or financial troubles. 20% of Americans have absolutely no savings at all whatsoever. So, if you've got more than $1,000 saved up for emergencies, congratulations, you're better off than most people. And if you don't have all that money saved up, then it's time to stop doing everything that you're planning to do, stop buying unnecessary things, and build that emergency cash fund. It's absolutely important for you to be ready for emergencies, because they can and will happen at some point in your life. So it's crucial you have the money saved up for them. In an ideal world, it would be perfect if you had 3 to 6 months of your living expenses saved up. If you have a super secure job, you can aim for 3 to 4 months of saving expenses. However, if your job isn't stable, then aim for 12 months of expenses saved up. Here are some tips for that. The moment you get paid, make a budget and set aside a little bit of cash for emergencies. For this money, you don't need to worry about making it grow through investments. This money should be extremely liquid, so it should be available in pure cash. And when you do use this money, use it to fund real emergencies, not everyday expenses. Save this money for the absolute worst case scenarios. Having even just 1 month's living expenses saved is an important step towards true financial security. Now, let's share another shocking fact. 33% of Americans have zero savings for retirement. Yep, 1 out of 3 Americans have no money set aside for when they retire. This means that once these folks are old, they won't be able to relax. They're going to have to keep working in order to survive. These are the years where you're going to need money for things like rent, food, electricity and transportation. If you don't have this money set up, then you're going to have to rely on others like your kids, grandkids, friends, or even maybe the government. And while you might have the nicest people in the world around you, and you might even live in a country with a ton of government support, the truth is that no one's going to take care of you the way that you want them to. So it's absolutely crucial for you to take care of your future self. Invest your money, even if it's just a small amount. Don't be part of the people that have zero savings. If you're somebody who's been saving and investing 10 to 15% of their money for the future, you're doing better than most people. And this is something that's super worth it, considering the more you invest now, the better your life will be when you're older. Don't think of it as parting ways with your money, but instead, think of this as setting money aside as a gift for your future self. Now, there's another stat that I'd like to share with you that's going to scare the bejesus out of you. Oh, and if you're enjoying this video so far, would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. Credit card debt. Half of Americans use credit cards to cover normal, regular expenses. On average, each American household has around $6,000 in credit card debt, totaling to almost over $1 trillion. Interestingly, young people like 61% of Generation Z and 53% of millennials often use credit cards to cover their essential living costs. Credit cards aren't exactly bad, as long as they're used responsibly and the balance is paid in full each month. However, studies have shown that people tend to spend a lot more when they're using credit cards, and that it's easy to end up overspending because people start buying things they normally couldn't afford. This problem is only growing and will continue to grow because people have started taking on more and more credit card debt in order to protect their lifestyles from economic challenges such as downturns and inflation. So if you've saved up money, have an emergency fund, pay your bills without going into debt, then you're doing a lot better than most people. Why don't you feel like you're earning enough? So if you're still better off than most people, but you're not satisfied, then you're not alone. The average salary in the United States is close to $60,000, but these numbers don't really tell us how we feel about our own earnings. You see, folks, research says it's not about what we're making, but rather it's about what our friends and our peers are making. If they're earning way more than us, then it can make us feel unhappy, even if we're doing pretty well. It's a simple concept of loss aversion. The pain of losing $100 is a lot more than the joy of magically gaining $100, right? Well, that's kind of what happens with our salaries. No matter how much or how little we earn, if we find out that we're earning more than our friends, then we feel good. However, if we're earning less than them, then it feels extremely bad. Now, the question is, how do we break away from this nerve-ending cycle of doom? This is all about society versus individual success. In simple terms, our idea of success is often dictated by what society expects from us and how we compare to others. Modern society celebrates those who have lots of money, fancy things, and a high social status. But in order to be content with what you have, you need to think about what success means to you as an individual. If you're not into cars, then success for you should be driving something that's comfortable, reliable, and takes you from point A to B, without giving you too many issues. That something can be easily bought for under $30,000, instead of spending hundreds of thousands on a flash luxury car, just because your neighbour has it. Your focus on what success is should depend on your goals for the future, your needs and wants, and what makes you and your family happy, not the society. So, there you have it, folks. Let us know in the comments what success means to you. See you next time.